Hello everyone, welcome to Pete's CD Vinyl World. I haven't done a video in a couple weeks, so I figured I'd get back into the groove here. And one of the main reasons was I was waiting for Ace Frehley Origins Volume 2. So I'm going to review that today. The reason I had to wait so long for this is they put this out through different online outlets in different colored vinyls here and there. And it was just sold out immediately because it had all these different collectors trying to get every different version. I got the Target online version, which is black marble, you could see. And I couldn't care less about if this was in diarrhea brown. I mean, I just wanted a copy of the album. I wish they had just made a regular copy, just so anyone who just wants the album doesn't have to like fight all these collectors to get a copy of it. The album was issued on double 45 vinyl, which was, I'll get into that later. It was kind of unique, I guess, for various reasons. But, so this was a follow-up to his 2016 Origins Volume 1, which is all covers as well. He did redo a couple of Kiss songs on here. He does one on here as well, which we'll get to. Several guest stars on the album as well, which I'll get to. Overall, I think Matt Starr, from his current touring band, plays drums on all the tracks, and also his bass player plays on most of the tracks as well, as far as I can see. A couple of songs here and there has his rhythm guitar player as well. So, album starts out with Good Times, Bad Times, which is a pretty good version, actually. You wouldn't think that Ace's vocals and Robert Plant's would have anything in common, or he could get up there. He doesn't definitely not get up there, but he does find a pocket to fit in his vocal style pretty well. Next up is Never in My Life, the mountain classic. Probably my favorite mountain song as well. Glad he didn't do Mississippi Queen. So right off the bat, I would say Good Times, Bad Times, and Never in My Life. Probably my two favorite songs on the album right in a row. So I think I mentioned this is on a double 45 RPM vinyl album. So there's 3 songs on each side. And I'll get to that later on when I'm done talking about each song. Next up is Deep Purple Space Truckin'. Again, another great version. That was the first video. He released an animated video for that song a couple weeks before the album, I believe, came out. And again, originally sung by Ian Gillan, Deep Purple, he does a pretty good version of it vocally, surprisingly. It's got a lot of energy, too. So the first side with those 3 songs is definitely the best side, without a doubt. Next up on side B, starts off with the Beatles cover, I'm Down. And this features John 5 on electric guitar as well. He trades off solos with Ace back and forth. I like this track because it has more of a live feel than some of the other ones. Sounds like they played this one together. Next up is Jumpin' Jack Flash from the Rolling Stones. When I first saw the track listing, I thought that was a kind of a predictable pick, but again, I was surprised at how good the version is. It has Lita Ford on vocals. She also sang Wild Thing on the first volume, but this blows away Wild Thing. It's a really great version. Finally, on side B, we have the Cream classic Politician. Kind of surprising because it's not one of their more well-known songs, but he does a nice heavy version of it. Not my favorite Cream song by a long shot, but still, he didn't do. He did White Room on the first volume, so good to see him not do like Sunshine of Your Love or something like that. So, side C, getting to the second album here, starts off with the Kinks classic Lola. Now, I couldn't imagine him singing this when I first saw the track listing, and it's definitely a heavier version than the Kinks version, but still does a pretty good job. I would say his vocals are kind of not laughable, but definitely struggling vocally on that one. So next up is the Humble Pie classic, 30 Days in the Hole, which is sung by Robin Zander of Cheap Trick. When I first heard he was going to do this, I was like, okay, cool, that's going to be great. But Robin Zander really sounds like he struggled on this song. And I don't know how many Cheap Trick fans are out there, but once in a while, Robin Zander's got that struggling, screechy, high pitch thing going on. On their latest album, he did that a few times. And that's the way he sang this song most of the way through. So it wasn't one of my favorite vocal performances from Robin. And when I was thinking about this, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, back in the 90s when I used to see Ace all the time in clubs, he always used to do Humble Pie's version of I Don't Need No Doctor. And in my mind, I'm thinking that would have been perfect for Robin Zander also. And Ace used to sing that live, so I could picture him going back and forth with Robin on that one. Wish he had done that one instead of 30 Days in the Hole, actually. Next up, Manic Depression. Pretty straight ahead cover, except it has Bruce Kulick from Kiss on lead guitar as well. So Ace and Bruce trade back solos. It's pretty rockin' version there. And finally, side D. Starts off with Kicks from Paul Revere and the Raiders. Pretty good version, heavier version of the original. Next up is The Animals, We Gotta Get Out of This Place. Again, when I saw the track listing, I was like, that's kind of predictable. I wasn't thinking that was going to be one of my favorites on the album, but I gotta say, he surprises me again and does a great version of that. And it's one of the few songs where Ace is actually singing as opposed to a lot of the songs he's just sort of talking through his vocals like he does normally on some of his songs with his unique style. But he does a good version of it, I have to say. And finally, he does the Kiss classic She, which, again, I was like, why did you have to do that? And it's an okay version. It is actually a little part of the riff that he leaves out. I don't know if he does it on purpose or maybe he forgot it was there. And another issue with that one is Ace doesn't sing it. He has one of the other guys in his band, I think one of the rhythm guitar players, sing it, which I've seen Ace play that live before. And I could have sworn that he always sang it live. At least I know he did back in the 90s. So not sure why he didn't sing that one himself. It's not really a difficult song to sing. So, overall impressions. Not sure why this they went ahead and issued this on a double 45 RPM vinyl. I mean, we're not talking about a classic sounding album like Dark Side of the Moon or Abbey Road or, this is obviously recorded digitally. So, and the sound of it's got home studio written all over it. So for them to issue it on a double 45 was kind of mind-boggling. And I'm sure this does not sound any better than the CD. It's very, very modern digital sounding to me. Not that it's bad. Another issue, which has been an issue with all of the Aces albums from Anomaly on. So when he started recording albums again in the early 2000s, so I think Anomaly came out around 2005, 2006, Ace always plays all the rhythm guitars, which to me, you lose that dynamic of playing with another guitar player. And especially on an album like this, where you want more of a live feel, I didn't get any of that on this. It's very, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say robotic sounding, but, when another guitar player doubles his own tracks with the same guitar and the same amp, there's not that contrast. One thing that made the early Kiss albums so great was the contrast between Ace's and Paul's rhythm playing. They both had a unique sound. And he was able to do that on his 78 Kiss solo album. I think he doubled a lot of his tracks with different types of guitars. He used Strats and Les Pauls. Here you could tell he's just using Les Pauls and recording two guitar tracks. So it doesn't give that dynamic. Another issue, which I talked about before, is a lot of these songs don't have that live feel, and that's been an issue with I think all of Ace's albums. A lot of people think this is better than the first volume. I prefer the first volume, I would have to say. This is more consistent all the way through, I think, but there's 3 or 4 tracks on here. Spanish Castle Magic, Fire and Water, Emerald, Bring It On Home, and his version of Rock and Roll Hell that blow away anything on here. In fact, he does Fire and Water on here from Free, and Paul Stanley sings it. That, to me, is the best Kiss-related song that's been released in the last 20 years. Better than anything on Kiss's Monster or Sonic Boom or any of the other Ace albums, with the exception of maybe Modern Day Delilah from Sonic Boom. But that was a great version. So I think overall I like this better just because of the diversity of this. This to me has a more live feel. I prefer his drummer at the time here, Scott Coogan, I think his name was. He does a great Paul Stanley impersonation also. But then again, it's still an enjoyable album. You know, Ace to me reminds me of Joan Jett, where he just is the king of covers. She's the queen of covers. He's sort of the king of covers. All of his albums have at least one cover. And he always does a pretty good job of them, I think. He always finds songs that fit his voice, and he has a good ear for that. And, overall, definitely worth getting. Unless you really, really want the vinyl, I would just get the CD. I don't think this is, in my opinion, going to sound any better, even at the 45 RPM, than the CD. And the CD you can pick up it for $10 in Target. You'll have a hard time getting a copy of this at all. And if you do, the list price of it is like $35. If you have to get it on eBay or something, you're going to be paying like probably over $50. So I would suggest, if you're just curious, just get the CD or listen to it online or whatever. But another thing about Ace is, for all what's been said about him being sort of just like a goof off, once he's gotten his act together in the early 2000s, he's been putting out albums left and right. He's put out, 5 releases, and Kiss has only put out 2 in the last 20 years. So, and I have to say, I would put on any Ace album before I put on Monster or Sonic Boom from Kiss. So, got to hand it to Ace for having his act together. He's still actually recording another new studio album soon. So, overall, I would say I'd give this 3 stars out of 5, just for the reasons I've mentioned. Again, if you're an Ace fan, I'm sure you have it, or you've got to get it. And like I said, if you're into collecting the colored vinyl and stuff, cool. That's cool too. But none of the other, there's like, I think 4 or 5 different versions of the colored vinyl. None of them have like any bonus track as far as musically. They all have the same 12 tracks. So if you just want to get a copy and you don't care what colored you get, I would try to go on Target online first to get it. But other than that, nice to be back online making videos, and hopefully have another video soon. Next, I'm going to be ranking the Ace Frehley studio albums. So that'll be coming up in the next few days. If you like these videos, please subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.